we get our residents in the community, the residents in the building, to interact with each other. And then they want to be there not because of the building, but actually because of the other people that are based there as well. And that for us is where we always want to try and get to. And that's kind of what Manchester's about, isn't it? People want to be in Manchester, not just because of the architecture, but actually because of the people and because of the culture and the vibe. We're a regeneration specialist, property company mostly, but I suppose increasingly find ourselves more and more involved in hospitality. So I suppose what that means is as regeneration specialists, if you like, that means that we're really good at creating demand as opposed to just building something that's fairly obvious.
You start off with buildings like this, which is an old warehouse. We've got about 5 or 6 old warehouses and mills in Manchester, and the raw ingredients are already there to do some really interesting stuff with. And we love that. If we can keep what we can, we keep it. Some bits you have to go because they're out of date and all the rest of it. But if we keep what we can, whether it's the girders, the strip back walls, the flooring, all those kind of things, we do. And that's kind of our company and our brand is to do that and keep parts of Manchester in Manchester.
What's fantastic about an existing building is that you're able to kind of celebrate the architecture of the time. So it's not just mills, it's kind of, we've done things from the 50s and the 70s where you've got an express kind of concrete frame, so you can have exposed concrete ceilings and floors. And I think that we like that authenticity and we like that ability to do something that's unique as a result and that really improves and adds to the skyline of the city.
I think as well, when somebody walks for the first time into London Warehouse or one of the other old mills that we're doing, the first thing they say is they walk into the big atrium and they look up and it's like, wow, on a building like this, it's incredible. There's a lot of people just haven't had the chance to come into these older buildings.
You know, you guys are developing all over the UK, but there's quite a concentration in Manchester. Why is that? Why Manchester for Capital&Centric?
We have been since we started. We've both been sort of in Manchester for most of our careers. And it's just fundamentally an absolutely brilliant city to be in because it's got that real kind of independent vibe and independent soul to it, which other cities try and emulate, but it's actually quite difficult to do.
Capital&Centric in some ways reflects that Manchester approach, which is a little bit renegade, prepared to do stuff that's different.
Trying to do architecture that's actually sort of thought-provoking and people walk past and look at it, and actually hopefully it's Instagrammable because people actually want to take photographs because they're proud of it, they're proud of their city, as opposed to building stuff that's functional but it's been designed on a spreadsheet. One
of the things that we're constantly striving to achieve is making sure that people have got an opinion as well of what we do. What you want to do is extract a strong opinion from someone, you know, and I think that's when things are really at their best. If you're pushing boundaries, you're doing something that's quite exciting, and some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it.
A lot of it's down to the quality of the detailing. And it's things like, you know, some of the residential blocks that were built in 2006, 2007 look tired already, and it's all to do with things like, it's the details like how deep the windows are on the reveal. You know, a lot of these older buildings that we're in now, the windows are very, very deep, and you just get this kind of articulation on the elevation that tends to be designed out, if you're not careful, by, you know, architects and designers and engineers and quantity surveyors. And it's about kind of reeling them in sometimes and making sure they are sticking to fundamentally great architecture that will still look good. It doesn't necessarily have to be fashionable, but it's still going to be kind of on vogue and classic and modern in years to come.
Half the stuff we do is new build. And so it's just as important that we're, if you like, creating the heritage buildings for the future. So, and the way to do that is by really, you know, focusing hard on quality of architecture, interesting design, engaging design. That's definitely something that we're passionate about.
Trying to get all the floors of a building to kind of work together, so different residents of different floors, whether it's a commercial scheme or a residential scheme, whatever, are all actually meeting and mingling and actually making use of that ground floor, and the ground floor is actually serving them, not just serving you know, the wider public, but it's getting then the wider public to come into it as well, and just making the whole thing like a hub is, I think, is the key to making a successful development, really.
We don't really want to do things by halves, you know, you don't really want to just kind of give it a lick of paint and think, well, that's better and we'll make some money and move on. For us, actually, we take a bit more of a long-term approach. We wanted to fundamentally improve the building and do a proper job of it. So we took everything out that existed here, and everyone said we're bonkers, you know, you shouldn't do it, you're nuts, you know, you're chucking away, you know, a load of value, if you like. Yep. But really, to do it justice, it needed us to take it back to this stuff, you know, bricks and steel beams and cast iron columns, and go and do something really special instead, and unpick all of the problems and make something that's really nice.
Everybody who walks in on that ground floor looks up and says wow, because it is just actually an incredible building. But so many people in Manchester have never actually stayed here, and it was really about making the thing very, very accessible.
It's a piece of Manchester's heritage. It's part of everyone's heritage, if you like. It's a huge part of what made the city so fantastic are its mill buildings, and so to be able to be the guardian of those for a period of time and to try and bring them back to life and make them special again, and to allow people back into those spaces and even own a piece of it, I think is fantastic, because it was built by our ancestors and it built that fantastic city that we all live in as a result.